To welcome our next speaker, Dr. Elsa Ramos from Ayurvedic practitioner, herbalist, Spain, and the title of the presentation is Through Sound, Ancient Wisdom and Scientific Frontiers. Dr. Elsa, over to you.
Hello. Thank you for welcoming to present on this forum. And I would like to welcome everyone. Today we are going to explore how sound, something that we very often take for granted, is actually one of the oldest and most precise healing technologies known to humanity. Across cultures and centuries, sound has been used not only for ritual and art, but also as a medicine to align the mind, regulate emotions, and even, as modern science is now proving, to influence physical health at the cellular level. So we'll begin with the ancient perspectives, like the Vedic concept of Nāda Brahman, and compare them with cutting-edge research in fields such as biophysics, neuroscience, and vocal biomarkers. Along the way, we'll look at how certain frequencies can alter gene expression and how subtle changes in the voice can signal diseases before they appear physically, and also how brainwave entrainment can shift the states in consciousness. And by the end, we will arrive at a very practical question. If sound has this much potential, how can we integrate it into health systems today and into our personal wellness practices? So this is not just about philosophy or mysticism anymore. It's measurable and it's happening now. So I am an Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm also traditional doctor for the Zenú Council of Colombia. I'm a VoiceBio practitioner. We'll look into this in the second half of our presentation. And I'm also a choral soprano. So to find one's voice is to find one's medicine. And this quote captures the essence of our journey today. Across traditions, finding one's voice isn't just about speaking up or self-expression. It's about reconnecting to an inner frequency, a vibrational state that brings us into balance. In many indigenous healing systems, the healer doesn't give medicine. They help the person remember their own medicine. And in sound work, that often means recovering tones, pitches, or resonance qualities that may have been lost due to trauma, illness, or even cultural conditioning. What is fascinating is that modern voice analysis is showing a parallel. When someone is ill or emotionally distressed, they may literally lose access to certain frequencies in their vocal range. These aren't random changes. They correlate with psychological stress, inflammation, and neurological shifts. So in the Vedic tradition, Nāda Brahman means sound is God or the world is sound. The idea is that vibration is the most fundamental layer of reality, more fundamental than matter or even energy as we measure it. We see similar ideas elsewhere. The Greek logos, the Christian in the beginning was the word, and even certain indigenous origin stories where creation begins with a song or a chant. Across these frameworks, sound isn't symbolic, it's generative. So from a modern physics perspective, this aligns with the concept that energy fields and oscillations underpin physical structures. In biophysics, for example, we know that mechanical vibrations can influence how proteins fold, how membranes behave, and even how DNA expresses itself. That means vibration, and therefore sound, can shape life at its most basic level. In ancient practice, chanting or mantras wasn't just spiritual, it was a technology for aligning one's own microcosm with the macrocosmic rhythm of the universe. In the coming slides, we'll see how modern research is beginning to show measurable physiological shifts from these same kinds of sound-based practices. So from India to the Amazon to medieval Europe, the voice has been central to healing traditions. In the Vedic lineage, mantras are sound formulas designed to resonate with specific energetic and physiological patterns. Each syllable is chosen for its vibrational quality, not just meaning. In the Amazon, Icaros are healing songs sung by medicine people during plant ceremonies. These again aren't just melodies, they are considered sonic prescriptions tuned to the patient's need and to the spirit of the plants being worked with. In Tantra, bija syllables like lam or om are seed sounds that activate specific energy centers in the body, influencing mental states, breath patterns, and even hormonal responses. And in the Christian monastic tradition, Gregorian chant has been shown in modern studies to reduce heart rate, lower blood pressure, and synchronize brainwave activity amongst those chanting. The unifying principle across all these traditions is that the human voice is more than a tool for language. It's a vibrational instrument, one that can entrain the body and mind into harmony with a greater whole. So for centuries, voice has been as a healer's tool. Ancient shamans, yogis, monks, and mystics understood that voice could shift consciousness and health. Today, research confirms that vocal practices influence measurable biomarkers, and studies have shown that chanting can raise oxytocin levels, improve heart rate variability, and reduce inflammatory markers. Singing in groups has been linked to endorphin release and improved mood regulation. The difference is that now we can measure what was once only intuited. Using EEG for brain activity, HRV monitors for nervous system balance, and spectrographic analysis for vocal frequency changes. So the next frontier is integration. How do we bring the precision of modern diagnostics together with the holistic wisdom of ancient sound medicine? This is where the concept of voice as medicine is no longer metaphorical, it's becoming a legitimate medical tool. So, for example, we have histotripsy. It's a breakthrough method using high-intensity focused ultrasound to create microbubbles in tumor tissue. These bubbles collapse and mechanically liquefy the tumor without damaging surrounding healthy tissue. It was FDA approved in 2023 for liver cancer with early trials showing up to 90% tumor elimination and minimal side effects. Oncotripsy still is in experimental stages and takes a different approach. It identifies the resonant frequency at which the cancer cells vibrate. When exposed to ultrasound tuned to this exact frequency, the cancer cells rupture while the healthy cells, which have different mechanical properties, are going to remain intact. So both of these approaches confirm that what ancient sound healers claimed in symbolic terms, that frequency can target disharmony and restore order, whether that's at the level of the psyche, the organ system, or the cell itself. Biophysics provides a framework for understanding how sound can influence health at the cellular level. Mechanical vibrations, including those in the audible range, can change membrane permeability, affects ion channel behavior, and alter cytoskeletal structure. Experiments have shown that specific frequencies can influence stem cells differentiation, and that sustained vibrations can modify gene expression linked to inflammation and repair. Protein folding, essential for proper biological function, is also sensitive to vibrational energy. This means sound isn't just a soft therapy, it's a mechanical force that can influence biochemical pathways. When we combine this with ancient knowledge about rhythm, tone, and resonance, we start to see a bridge between what was once a spiritual metaphor and what is now measurable biological effect. The human voice carries a vast amount of health information. In voice science, we analyze features like pitch, fundamental frequency, jitter, small rapid variations in pitch, shimmer, variation in amplitude, and formants, which are the resonance patterns of the vocal tract. Changes in these features can indicate early stages of diseases such as Parkinson's, heart failure, or depression. So, for example, increased jitter and reduced pitch variation may signal neurological decline before any motor systems are visible. What's important is that these features are measurable with a simple voice recording, making them a low-cost, non-invasive way to screen large populations for health risks. Something ancient healers did intuitively, like Persians, ancient doctors, they did a diagnosis through voice, and now technology can do at larger scale. So Parkinson's disease is typically diagnosed after motor symptoms appear, like tremors, stiffness, slowed movements, but at that point, significant neurological damage has already occurred. So research shows that up to 78% of early-stage Parkinson's patients display measurable voice changes before physical symptoms are evident. These changes include reduced pitch variation, increased jitter, and subtle shifts in shimmer. All are signs of reduced fine motor control in the vocal apparatus. This makes sense neurologically. The same circuits controlling hand movements also fine-tune the tiny muscles of the larynx. And these pathways degrade. As these pathways degrade, the voice reflects earlier than the body does. So from a public health perspective, this could be transformative. Voice analysis is inexpensive, requires no specialized equipment beyond a microphone, and can be deployed remotely via smartphones. That means regular passive screening for millions of people, catching this disease years earlier when intervention may be more effective. When it comes to depression and mental health conditions, they also leave distinct fingerprints in the voice. In depression, the intonation pattern often flattens, the speech rate slows, and formant structures which shape the vowel quality subtly shift. The EcoWeb study in 2024 involving young adults across multiple countries found that these vocal patterns correlated strongly with validated measures of mood and emotional regulation. Because the voice can be recorded passively during normal conversation, it opens up the possibility of continuous mental health monitoring, potentially flagging risks before a crisis develops. This approach is, again, especially valuable in young population where early intervention can change the course of illness. As with Parkinson's detection, it is non-invasive, scalable, and cost-effective. When it comes to heart failure, in acute heart failure, the voice changes can appear days before the patient notices physical symptoms like shortness of breath or swelling. The AHF voice study has demonstrated that voice monitoring can detect these shifts, enabling earlier intervention. This could allow clinicians to adjust medication or recommend hospitalization before a life-threatening episode occurs. For patients, it means fewer emergency admissions and a greater sense of control over their condition. Combined with wearable devices, voice monitoring could become a key part of home-based cardiac care. Sound-induced neuroplasticity. Sound doesn't only reflect our health, it can actively reshape the brain. Practices like binaural beats, harmonic chanting, and rhythmic drumming have shown to influence brainwave patterns through a process called entrainment. Delta and theta waves are linked to deep relaxation, meditative states, and emotional processing, while alpha waves are associated with calm focus. Certain sound sequences, such as pentatonic scales, have been found to increase these slower restorative brainwaves, while reducing faster beta and gamma activity linked to stress and high cognitive load. These shifts can improve attention, mood, and sleep quality and support emotional regulation. However, systematic reviews show mixed results, often due to differences in sound protocols, exposure time, and participant variability. The takeaway is that sound-induced neuroplasticity is real, but precision in frequency, rhythm, and delivery is key to consistent benefits, something that ancient tradition inherently standardized through ritual repetition and form-like chant structures. So the vagus nerve is a major regulator in the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest mode. It runs from the brainstem through the throat and vocal cords into the heart, lungs, and gut. When we chant or hum, the vibrations stimulate the vagus nerve, sending a signal to the body to relax, slow the heart rate, and shift into parasympathetic dominance. Studies show that regular chanting or humming improves heart rate variability, a marker of resilience and autonomic balance, while also reducing cortisol and other stress hormones. This stimulation can also support immune function by reducing chronic inflammation and promoting balanced cytokine activity. In essence, what ancient healers achieved through repeated mantra or song now has a clear neurophysiological explanation. So now I would like to introduce you to one tool to use on the diagnosis and also on the treatment of conditions. It is VoiceBio. VoiceBio was developed after 20 years of clinical observation and research in a hospital setting, using voice recordings from thousands of patients across a wide range of health conditions. Each VoiceBio session uses 3 short recordings. On the first one, the client describes something in a neutral tone, usually a factual or simple topic. Then the client describes a stressful event, something emotionally charged or challenging. And the last recording is going to be describing their future, their hopes, their plans, or expectations. These three contexts trigger subtle shifts in frequency usage, revealing patterns that may not emerge in everyday conversation. The software analyzes these recordings and identifies the presence and distribution of 12 keynote body frequency and maps them into a visual voice print. And of course, it is a non-invasive method of detection. So every organ and body system has a keynote frequency. For instance, the colon resonates to the note B, the liver to note G. And these are the same notes we find in music, repeating at different octaves throughout the body. In ideal health, all 12 keynote frequencies appear in balanced proportion, reflecting harmonious communication across systems. In reality, most people have imbalances, and some frequencies appear in excess, and others are going to be deficient. VoiceBio captures a short voice sample and charts these frequencies in a visual voice print. This gives a precise map of where the body's vibrational balance is strong, overworked, or depleted. Unlike other voice analysis methods we discussed earlier, which look for disease-specific acoustic markers, VoiceBio's approach focuses on the energetic blueprint, guiding both physical and emotional support strategies. So ideally, a balanced voice print shows even distribution of all 12 keynotes frequencies, meaning both physical and emotional systems are functioning in harmony. When certain frequencies show as heavy hits, it signals overworked. So for example, chronic stress on the pancreas or liver. Weak hits indicate underfunction or depletion, showing where support is needed. What makes VoiceBio unique is that it also maps emotional frequencies. Emotions like worry, resentment, or joy have their own vibrational signatures linked to specific organs. Prolonged emotions can either nourish or weaken these physical systems. By revealing both physical and emotional patterns, VoiceBio enables targeted intervention. This dual approach is crucial because if you only address the body but not the underlying emotion, the imbalance is often going to return. So this is an example of two different voice prints. So for example, here, this is going to show us the vitality line of the person, if you see what I'm showing on the screen. And this person has a lot lower vitality level. And we see, for example, this person has an overworked D note. Well, this person is going to be E note. This is going to mean spleen, the thymus. It can also mean like a gist overgrowth, whilst D means issues with the kidney, hardening of arteries, or issues with the larynx. So here's a list of the frequencies and organs. I won't go into too much detail, but to give you an example, note C is going to be linked to thyroid, lymph, small intestines, large muscles, C sharp, the kidneys, the tendons, ligaments. Note D is going to be the kidney, left kidney, the arteries, the larynx, D sharp, the adrenals, parasites, environmental sensitivities. Note E for spleen, thymus, gist overgrowth, hip bones. F, pancreas, eyes, ears, pineal glands. F sharp for brain, the sympathetic nervous system, the pituitary glands. For note G, neurotransmitters, parasympathetic nervous system, the liver, the blood. enzyme production for G sharp, prostate, gallbladder. A is going to be lungs, the ureters. This is very frequent in menopause, that node A is going to be very deficient. Also for testicles, for knees and bladder, A sharp for the heart, coronary arteries, appendix, node B for colon, large intestines, esophagus, and trachea. But we're also going to see that the keynotes are going to be linked to different emotional patterns, like node C tends to appear in people who prioritize harmony and pleasing others, and node C sharp can indicate being overcritical of oneself. Node D are going to be the type of fixers or overachievers that want to do everything. Node D sharp often is going to be linked with fears about the future and a tendency to suppress feelings. Node E can point to chronic overthinking, impatience, desire to escape from stress. Node F, a lot of self-doubt and difficulty adapting to change. Financial fears for F sharp, low self-worth patterns. Node G correlates with nurturing others excessively while neglecting oneself. Node G sharp, it suggests feeling overpowered by circumstances and self-sabotage. Node A often links to being others above oneself and difficulty letting go. Node A sharp can indicate feeling attacked, high sensitivity to criticism and self-doubt. And node B is associated with feeling undeserving of or guilty about self-prioritization. So I've tried to give you reasons of why sound and voice are so important and have been so important for humanity. And when we start with this, I will suggest that any patients you have, especially having emotional issues or mental issues, something as simple as taking singing lessons, it helps tremendously. But also, if you screenshot this area, you can experience with yourself if you have any issues on these areas. You can just listen to any musical pieces that are written on any of these keys. And if you do that for a certain time, you are definitely going to experience improvement. And I urge you to try to do so. So you can reach me on my email on screen. And I would like to thank you for today. And if you'd like to ask any questions, I'll happily answer.
Thank you, Dr. Elsa, for sharing such an interesting presentation. Your research seems truly impactful. And now the session is open for Q&A. Any questions from the audience? Any questions? I have already shared Dr. Elsa's email ID in the chat box so that you can contact him further regarding any other queries. Thank you. Thank you once again for sharing them.
Thank you.
And now moving to the next presentation, I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Dr. Kagati Esin from Mayas University, Turkey. And the title of the presentation